Welcome to Entertainment Weekly's studio. I'm Sam Heifel, and I am joined by the cast and creators of Pennyworth, The Origin of Batman's Butler, because we have a subtitle now. Actually, can I ask where the idea for the subtitle came from?
I'll answer that one, I guess. HBO Max did their research, and they discovered a fair few people who had watched and enjoyed the first few seasons of Pennyworth, but had not realised that it was about Batman's. They just thought it was about a bloke that left the army and...
The Wayne name didn't tip anybody out?
No, and it was a shocker when I saw that. I realised, oh, wow, that's a bit of an error. In terms of our conceptualization of...
Yeah.
Should have thrown in a lot more Easter eggs. But anyway...
it's just a bat suit, casually.
Yeah,
in the back. Yeah.
That bat noise in the background occasionally.
Yeah.
People with capes looming.
Yeah.
Anyway, it became clear that it's just a sort of sensible, matter-of-fact thing to do.
Yeah.
You can, we came up with 1,000 versions of that. The journey of Batman's mentor. The life of Batman's guardian. But again, the simplest thing is
he's the butler.
That's what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
As we say.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Do you have that expression here or not?
No.
No.
I have no
Could
idea
tell
what
that.
you're talking about.
Great.
Well, that makes me curious then, in you all's experience, are fans of this show that come up to you that ask you questions, are they generally Batman fans, or do you feel like it's a pretty even mix, or do you even know from what they really say to you, probably?
Well, for me, it's always Bruno Heller fans, but I don't know. People come up and ask you about me.
They do. I'm always fielding questions about you. I'm like, God, he's a mystery. I don't know.
You guys are both playing characters that people know, but we're never necessarily the lead of an on-screen Batman story. So do you find that it's what do they want to know from you? What is the fan interaction?
I remember having an experience on season 1 with an SA, a supporting artist, background artist. He was stood at the bar with me in one of the club scenes, and he was like, we'd had a little chat, and then he was like, kind of turned away from me, and then was like, I can't believe I just spoke to Thomas Wayne. And I was like, oh, okay, right, yeah. It means something to someone, so that's good. That was the story.
That's the punchline.
Wow. The punchline, there we go.
Well, I want to touch on season 3 because every season jumps ahead a little bit in time. Where do we pick up? Where are we picking up in the start of season 3?
Let's have Jackie that one.
Well, we're 5 years on from the end of season 2. So there was, the big war at the end of season 2, and then we've skipped 5 years, and we're into the 70s, where there's been a sort of cultural, sexual revolution, and it's very colourful and sexy and explosive and psychedelic, and there's psychedelic mind control drugs and all sorts going on. So it's sort of a brave new world that we're in.
Yeah, I was going to ask. We're dealing with the psychokinetic drug, right? the
sure,
terminology.
Yeah.
I think that's what the trailer said. What can you all tell me about where did the idea for that come from? Is that the quote-unquote big bad of the season? In
a sense, when we were thinking about the season, we liked the idea of London in that time period being sort of the center for all of these various nations and foreign espionage, and also as a place where the CIA was going to come in and do experiments. Because we're always trying to say, okay, how can we do things now which you can flash forward 20 or 30 years and imagine we're in a world with super beings and organizations up to nefarious purposes. So we wanted something also that, as Jack said, fit into the time period of a psychedelic place where people were doing mind-altering things. So it kind of seemed to come together at the time, and I'm not sure psychokinetic is a real word, but
it is now.
Sounds
place.
Good.
You sold us on the word.
I did? Oh, yeah. It's a real word.
We're using it now.
Yeah, it's on the tin.
Well, so is Alfred essentially taking on the government in a way?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big bad, I would say.
Yeah, I think he's taking yes and no's. Yeah, he's taking on the government, but they're factions within the government who are allied with the CIA. And it's also the question of who inside the government is doing things that are above board and who are doing things that are, underground. And Alfred is trying to get to the heart of that, but it's going to put him, as Jack said, in conflict with the establishment. So.
Okay, great. Okay, we also have Thomas's father, coming in. What can you tell? What is that like internal family dynamic like?
I think, not to speak for Bruno, but I think it's a bit of a foreshadowing, or it's the repeated family dynamic that we then know is Thomas and Bruce's dynamic, which is that kind of cold, distant, awkward father-son relationship. So, which I think you've written brilliantly. Well done. But yeah, so we kind of learn about a bit of family history there, and their interplay is very tense. And Patrick kind of comes, Thomas is on the straight and narrow in this season. He's a family man. He's a paediatrician. He's like sailing close to the do-gooder that we know of him in the comics.
Sure.
And then Patrick arrives and kind of tries to re-embroil him into, dark matters, and succeeds, kind of. But yeah, it's an interesting tension between them for the whole series.
Yeah. What is the dynamic? What is the friendship like in season 3 for you?
Thomas
two?
is still begging to be friends with him.
Trying to be mates.
Just saying, we're friends, right? Aren't we friends? We're friends. As a friend.
You actually asked to stop saying that.
Yeah, I did. I was like, come on.
Bruno,
It's
please.
making me feel very lame.
Alfred's like, nah. Shuts the door.
There's still, I think it turns out in this season that, there's still, Thomas ends up still needing the help of Alfred. And I think there's still a bit of distrust the other way around. I think there is, because of, seasons past and what he's involved Alfred in, there's a little bit of, a bit of distrust. But, I think we see the beginnings of, if Thomas was always after him for business affairs and for the CIA in seasons 1 and 2, I think we begin to see the need in Thomas in terms of like protection for the family. That begins to play into it, and I presume will continue as we get further into the story in further seasons.
Do you like to just throw things out there and see if they?
Yeah.
I presume that will continue and see what they.
He was all about being the next James Bond.
Yeah. which he tried out, and then they were like, "Oh, you're not cool enough to do that."
But here's the thing, the original concept was always going to be that Martha and Thomas are two sides of the Batman coin, and it's Martha who is the ferocious, like slightly mad vigilante, and he's the rational Apollonian man of justice, which that's
With a
bad.
temper.
Yeah. With a
Dark side.
dark, sexy edge on it.
Thank you for adding that in there.
With a tash.
With a tash.
Great.
I love it. I think that if anyone's keeping track, that was like the 3rd sexy. I like it. I feel like we're really selling season 3.
Jack got called a sex magnet yesterday in an interview we did, and I was very jealous.
By like a fan or?
No, by someone.
By a journalist?
Yeah,
All right.
Sex magnet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I made her call me as well. I was like, and
also, we're on camera. Could you just? What is the like stunt training like for you for this project? Are you used to it now? 3 years in?
Yeah, I think it's sort of. We've got some interesting stuff. We upped the ante this year. There's a grappling hook gun. There's stuff I think I can say.
Gadgets.
Yeah, we kind of move into stuff like that. So the harness was quite uncomfortable, but other than that, it's fine. But yeah, the stunt training is good, and we have a fantastic stunt coordinator, Marcus, who's worked on seasons 2 and 3. And I love doing it. There's one stunt that I haven't done, I think, and everything else I've done.
all right, Tom Cruise.
What was the one stunt?
Well, you'll have to work.
Oh,
it out,
we
won't
haven't
you?
seen it yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, was it in season 1
No, it's
or
in
2?
season 1. It's in season 1.
Oh, it's in season 1?
Yeah, it was me. Well, it wasn't me. It was the stuntman
Sure.
falling off a chair backwards onto some concrete that was about 10
They don't
foot
like
drop.
actors
I was
to
like,
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank
through. And everybody else, stay tuned to EW.com. I remembered the camera.